All right, guys, going to be talking today about importance of assessing when starting a health transformation. I'm going to give people a couple minutes here to jump on, let the notification go out that I'm doing a live, and get it myself on my phone so that way I can see your guys' comments, because the whole point of the show is I want to educate you guys. 10% Fitter Method. That's what this show is. Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Mountain, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. All I'm going to be talking to you about is how you can be better at being healthy. Be better at transforming your life, be better at using health to make your life better versus having health be the thing that holds your life back. Those kind of things. We'll talk about, in the shows we'll have kind of 4 components. On Mondays, I will do your mindset component, which you guys can see in my 10% Fitter Method. That's the first one right there. Starts with the mindset. You got to have a health mindset. Then comes in internal health, which is Tuesdays, which is what we're talking about today. Then comes in your nutrition. We'll talk about that on Wednesdays. And then comes in exercise. We'll talk about that, or movement, not just exercise, but movement in general. And we'll talk about that on Thursdays. There'll be times after the first few weeks, and I kind of launch this, I'll have guests for you guys. Just know that it's different for most people to have guests, because if I have guests, I'm going to challenge them. I'm going to push them. I want to make sure that the information that's being provided to you is research-backed, and it's not some gimmick that is just going to sell you on being better in the moment or whatever it may be, right? So just trying to pull up my live here. I'm not seeing that it's showing up for some reason, but we'll get started here in a sec. But guys, feel free to, there we go. Feel free to chime in with where you're coming from. I love to see where the followers are tuning in from. So Leslie, what's going on? Leslie, thank you so much for your email, by the way. You really encouraged me a lot, letting me know that you viewed it, you liked it. We create content all the time. I've been doing this for a long time, but we don't know if what we're saying resonates. I try to do my best and give you some things that many other people may not be giving you, but it's good to hear that, hey, I heard this video, it really helped me out, or, really give me a different perspective. It gives us fuel, because as content creators, we're constantly facing rejection. We're constantly facing judgment. I've made my first live the guy had a thing, and he talked about my hair, right? My hair was in a bun, and he told me how it was inappropriate. I needed to get a shave and I need to look a certain way. And I just laughed at it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are we still living in that age that my hair determines who I am as a quality person or not? The reality about my hair, I do this intentionally. It's not because I like long hair. It's because people comment on it negatively. And what that does is allows me to be me. It's like a muscle that I practice, because I'm an identity coach. It's one of the things, many coaching verticals that I do. And if I can be me all the time, that's the greatest gift I can give to myself. That's the greatest gift I can give to a client. And we say that a lot, but when we get challenged, we modify. We modify to our environment. I won't change my hair just because there's a guy in a suit telling me to. I used to be that guy. I wanted to post a picture for him of me 3 years ago, GM certification, button-up, suit, tie, high and tight, all that stuff. But that's not me anymore. Now I'm relaxed. I'm a health coach. I have long hair and screw it. But anyway, so thanks for all your comments and reaching out. But today we'll be talking, how about human-animal bonds helping people emotionally? Hey, this is a great one, Leslie. So where it comes down to internal health, I'll touch on this real quick because I mentioned it in the other one. Human-animal bond is one of the best things for you for your stress management and your emotional fulfillment. Because an animal, and I'm biased towards dogs, guys. That's not saying cats are bad, donkeys are bad, pigs are bad. Like, whatever your pet is, it's cool with you. But dogs just have this loyalty thing that you just know they got your back no matter what. And having that feeling all the time is amazing. Like, it's knowing that animal, the minute that I walk into my door, before my kids, before my wife, before anybody, they come to me and they greet me with the most affection I could ever feel. It puts a smile on my face instantaneously, unless I'm grouchy and I'm like, I'll get away from you. And then I come down, I'm like, all right, he's just trying to love him. He's licking me because that's his way of expressing love. But he's sitting over here actually in the corner on my chair. He's always with me in my office hanging out. And yesterday was National Dog Day, by the way. So Leslie, I would love to have you on sometimes. Maybe we'll do a live together, maybe in the upcoming weeks. I'm going to figure out how to do this with inviting people, and we can jump on and have a conversation about this, because it's also great for stress management. I have many people that don't believe in, Eastern medicine. Hey, Jeremy, what's going on, man? We're just talking about importance of assessing your health, importance of assessing your starting point prior to starting a health journey. But that applies to many different things. I know you work with a lot of job seekers, and the thing is, we have to assess all our current situation. What are current tools? What are current resources? What are gaps? All those things, and then be able to create a plan of attack. But too often we start to act without assessing. But anyway, so with the animal, with the dog, guys, they're amazing for stress. Look them in the eyes for a little while, pet them for a little while before bed. It works the same way as meditation. Why? Because you're not worried about what you're typically worried about. You're focused on that animal, you're focused on that contact, that oxytocin, the love hormone level goes up, and all these different things happen. But we'll make sure to set up a time with Leslie, if she's down, looks like she is, to do this sometime, to cover for you guys the importance of animals with our emotional well-being and internal health and things like that. But anyway, so what I'm talking today about is assessments. And I'm going to specifically discuss a few assessments that exist out there that you may not know, and what they're overcoming as far as potential roadblocks for you for your health, right? So I'm going to start with a story. Let me tell you this story. I had a client. This was about 8 years ago, maybe 9. It was 9 years ago. This, to this day, is still the biggest sale I ever made. It was a massive sale because this person was just committed. She had some money, and she was like, you know what, I will do whatever it takes to take this weight off. And I was working at a gym back then, and we had this program, and it basically was $2,000 a month, and you would get 3 times a week coaching for exercise. You will get 1 time a week coaching for nutrition. All your metabolism being measured with computers and masks and all this stuff, and then your cardio program's perfect. So all of these things are addressed. In a span of 3 months, she basically lost 6 pounds. She had 70 to lose. So can you imagine her frustration having to invest $6,000 into getting better, but not getting anywhere? The same thing can happen in all aspects of your business, just the same way as it can happen in health. You start to implement things, but they're not happening because you missed assessing your starting point. You missed your roadblocks, and you didn't create a plan on how to circumnavigate them. It hits, motivation falls off, you fall off, the plan has failed. It's much better to take your time and create these assessments. So continue with the story. She's blaming me. She's going, Anton, you're a bad coach. I should be losing weight. I've spent $6,000. $1,000 a pound is not okay. And trust me, I'm there with you. And I'm going, okay, weight loss is not rocket science. Because I didn't know things back then. I was a very young coach and ex-military, like Marine, right? So all gung-ho, drill instructor, like blah, 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 blah. I'm going to push you, right? So I'm going, you're cheating at home. Because if you're telling me what you're putting in your food diary and the amount of calories you're eating is accurate, there's no way you're not losing weight. So you have to be lying. And this is an ongoing dilemma between health coaches and clients all the time. It happens all the time. And the reason for it has to do with lack of knowledge on my part back then. I did not know how internal health plays a factor in weight loss. I did not know how internal health plays a factor in everything, for that matter, but really in weight loss. So my company had some labs, and I was like, you know what? Let's try this out. We ran this comprehensive lab. It was like $1,500, and we uncovered a bunch of different things with her that she was not reporting to me. Why? I'm going to cover this in a sec. But she found out she wasn't sleeping well, which she already knew, but she wasn't reporting it. We found out why she wasn't sleeping well, because stress was bad. Then we went into looking into her digestion. We found out her digestive tract wasn't working properly, probably because of the stress. And then we found out her hormones weren't regulated properly. She had an estrogen dominance that was coming from the gut issue. So we started to address that within 30 days, but doing proper supplementation after finding out these tests, we were able to correct. She started losing 10 pounds a month. That opened up my eyes to the need of correcting internal physiology prior to really focusing on what actions you're taking with nutrition and exercise. This is why with 10% Fitter method that I coach on, I have a first focus is mindset. Because if you don't have the right mindset, expectations and reality will not be met. Thyroid, yeah, we'll talk about that in a sec. But expectations and reality will not be met. Here's the problem. You're going on a journey. You watched a bunch of Biggest Loser shows. You watched a bunch of Instagram sensations talk to you about 30 days, 10 pounds, 21 days, 6-pack, all this stuff. but you didn't understand your internal health. So you to get through that challenge and nothing happened. Now you're frustrated, you're upset with yourself, and you're going to fall off this plan. What's the problem? Is it because you didn't do something right? No, it's because you didn't assess the starting point. Start with the root cause. So for that client, stress was the biggest problem. So what did we do? We brought in a sleep test first. That was one of the things that we tested, is we tested her sleep. This is a Thorne sleep test. Thorne is an amazing company where they do supplements, and that's who I'm affiliated with. For anything that I give to my clients, any tests that I do, they are the company that I go to. I've been using them for, over 10 years and amazing results, and that's all I use myself. But anyway, beside the point, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just need to educate you. If you need this, the link is in the comments. You can go check it out, but I don't advise that. I say set up a consultation with me, guys. I give out free consults because my mission is to help 10 million people to realize their potential by impacting their body and mind in order to create more human sustainability in the world. This is a big deal to me. I can't do this through paid clients only. 10 million people, I don't have enough time in my day to do that. So I'm giving out free stuff. And I've done over 5,000 health consultations in my life, and I give away the house. Like, you walk out, you're like, oh my God, I just got a information dump. Why? Because I'm going to give you all the information so you can ask better questions. You won't retain it all, you won't know it all, but I'll show you that 30,000 foot view of health, and you'll know where to ask better questions. But anyway, so we did a sleep test. Here's some symptoms, guys, and I'm going to do a webinar, by the way. This is the best way for you to kind of get an initial understanding of what's going on with your health. My webinar on September 10th, the link is in there. There's only 100 spots available, completely free. I want to help you understand this because there's just a roadblock for so many of you, and you're not capturing the idea that this could be the culprit. So the webinar, log in, register, I'll educate you guys, but what we'll do is we'll just go over symptoms. I'll go over a bunch of symptoms in different categories that'll indicate, based on your answers, here's some potential issues that could be going on with your internal health. Then we can investigate with lab tests and other things like that to figure out what actually is going on and what, most importantly, the corrective action has to be. Because it's not just about finding out what's wrong. It's about having the most perfect plan for your environment, for your system, that's going to get you from point A to point B in the most efficient way possible. That's what it's about. So really talking about sleep, some symptoms with sleep that could be going on. If it's taking you longer than 5 minutes to go to sleep, that's not right. But if it's been going on for years, you got used to it, so you think it's normal. I told you when I was talking about something earlier, I'll mention this. Common does not equal normal. I'm going to repeat this again, probably should say 100 times so people actually grasp it. Common does not equal normal. Just because everybody's jumping off a bridge doesn't mean that it's the right thing to jump off a bridge. Just because everybody in the world is having sleep problems no longer means that it's normal to have sleep problems. It means that everybody in the world is screwed up. That's the issue. So don't assess, or for yourself for that matter, if you've been that way for 10, 20 years since you were young, does not mean that that's normal. It just means that you've been struggling for something in a very small way for a really long time that's going to eventually catch up and cause a problem. So it's time to address it before it gets there. So anyway, a lot of these tests are just in-home it's all in-home stuff. It's either a blood prick or a saliva test, and it assesses these things. But if you're not sleeping, if you're not falling asleep within 5 minutes, that's a problem. If you're waking up between noon and say 3 a.m., that's midnight. Midnight and 3 a.m. It's usually like 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. is the sweet spot. That's that spike of cortisol too much. Like your body's stress response is too high. That's what's affecting your sleep response. You woke up, zoom, no longer can go to sleep. And you might be a light sleeper and a drop of a pin falls down, somebody sneezes in the house and you wake up and you can't go back to sleep. That's not normal, even if it's been going on forever. Maybe you wake up, and even if you've been in bed 7 to 8 hours of sleep, you're waking up groggy. You're just tired. You're not able to get good recovery and all these different things. That's a symptom that something is going on. Time to raise your hand, say, Anton, help me out. Let me see what's going on. Let me get some solutions. Because if you're not sleeping, there's so many side effects for it. Your hunger and your appetite the next day are going to be impacted, which means ghrelin hormone that makes you hungry is going to be more active. You're going to have more cravings and more need to intake calories. Your leptin hormone, hey, what's going on, guys? Just thanks for joining. If you feel chiming in where you're from, I love seeing where you guys are from, and feel free to put down your questions. Just talking about importance of assessing your internal health when starting a health journey. But so make sure that if you're not getting that good sleep, you get some answers. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you about is going to be your stress, right? So everybody's stressed. So this is a Thorne stress test, saliva collection kit. Here's the issue, guys. I'm going to tell you another story. I go to the doctors on Friday. This was Friday. And guys, if you think health coaches don't get issues just because we have the knowledge, no, that's not the case. Knowledge is not enough. You need to have somebody holding you accountable and an application of that knowledge being proper. I've been under a lot of stress, with a new baby this year, transitioning out of corporate world, steady paycheck, going into entrepreneurship, have running 2 companies, different things like that creates a lot of stress. So I've been feeling off. I've been Central Florida. That's awesome. So I've been off. I'm just not feeling super motivated. I'm feeling my energy's down. And most people are going to go to mindset, but me knowing what I know, I knew something's internally going on. So I go to the doctor. I'm like, okay, I need a physical. And I went to a basic doctor. My mistake. I went to just a family practitioner because I also just wanted to just do a quick lab test. So I figured quickly schedule to get it done. I go in there, explain my results, explain what's going on, not results, but symptoms. And I say, hey, I'm just tired. So he gives me a depression questionnaire. I'm not depressed, folks. I'm happy inside. Like I am. Like I love life. I love people. I love things. But my energy and my drive is not there. So I knew that he was going to go there, and I was like, look, I'm not depressed, man. I know what this is. What I believe I may have is a stress problem and a testosterone deficiency, which I've had issues with in the past that I corrected. So I talked to him about all this long conversation. He gives me a lab order. And I told him I need my adrenals tested. I need my free testosterone, full testosterone, available testosterone, all these different things. And he gives me the most basic thing in the world. And total testosterone, which tells me nothing, my lipid profiles, and my metabolic panel, which basically is the most fundamental thing you can ask for. Basic physical, checking for cancers, checking for all those kind of things, but not addressing the things that I need. My fault. But guess what? I'm gonna take this into my own hands. I have this thorn stress test. I'll take it and I'll show you guys some of the results and stuff like that in the next few weeks when I get it done. Because then I'll know my own patterns. I'll take a testosterone test. I'm not going to rely on doctors. I'm sorry, I'm not against doctors because there's amazing doctors out there. But doctors don't always know more than some of these experts out there. I will argue with a doctor about internal health all day long unless they're an internal health management doctor or an endocrinologist, and even them sometimes I argue with. And even DOs are good too, but you need to understand, what is your doctor's specialty? If it's not internal health, they probably don't know enough to really assess, and that's why these tests are so good. Guess what else happens? Your insurance company will never find out if something's off on these tests. Where sometimes if you do it in a medical office, they have to report it to insurance companies and things like that, but this will not be disclosed. So moving on with stress. What kind of symptoms may we have if we are under stress? I've talked about it a little bit yesterday. You have kind of 3 points of stress. Normal, elevated stress, and burnout, right? So it's kind of like spike, stays up, and then crashes. So it depends on where you're at. There's going to be different symptoms out there for what's going on. Cravings of sugar. This is one of the problems with stress. When you're stressed, your body wants simple energy. It thinks there's a lion in front of its face, even if stress is coming from mental stress or physical stress, and you are basically needing simple energy to respond to this line. So your body's going to pull from very simple sugars, which are much less complex than a fat. It takes very quick time to break it down, make it available, your body sucks it up. But because you can store a very limited amount of sugar in your body compared to fat, you deplete it very fast, and then your body creates the craving. It wants that simple energy again. And sometimes the craving is stronger than our willpower, and it's not our fault. It's not your fault sometimes. It's your physiology demanding, give me, give me, give me. And if you don't, she's going to get mad at you and going to get irritable. That's another response. When your blood sugar starts to crash out because you burned through that, now the body starts to get irritable and edge. We don't enjoy things as much. Tunnel vision. That's another thing that's a problem with stress. You notice that you don't have outside the box thinking. Your brain is not always organized. You forget things. All of this plays a factor. Your sex drive is down. Yup, because the same things that create your stress hormones create your sex hormones. So if you're depleting all your stuff for your stress hormones, now you don't have enough sex hormones. Similar thing for your neural hormones. So that's why it's about addressing the root cause versus addressing symptoms. Fix your stress, all those things will get better. Versus having to work on each one of them individually and never really getting to the bottom of it and always suffering with problems. But address the problem at the bottom of it, and now everything else above it gets better. So just talking about importance of assessing when starting a health transformation, guys. This is all for my 10% fitter method, health coaching that I do. And I'm looking for clients right now. I am looking for clients because just this year I started my business and I went from in-person health coaching to online health coaching. I'm also a life coach. I'm an identity coach. I've coached for over 10 years, guys. Over 10,000, hours of one-on-one coaching. Over $1 million in coaching services sold. But I'm new to online stuff, so you guys get to take advantage of my knowledge without the prices that you see with some of these high-level experts online that have been doing this for a long time. If you just want to set up a call, let's set up a call. The link is in the description, or at least check out my webinar that's coming up so you can see what kind of stuff I talk about, and then we can sit down. Guys, my goal for you as a coach is to achieve results today, but more important than that, maintain them a year from now and not impact your life and your health negatively 10 to 20 years down the road from the choices we made today. So I really go with the approach of first do no harm. I go with a marathon approach, and 10% fitter means we make small changes, small but sustainable changes. Because how many times have you started a diet? How many times have you started a transformation journey of some sort and you fell off? Now, if I've taken all of that time and compounded it into very small weekly changes that were consistently built out over that time, you would not recognize yourself right now. So that's the reality. Stop this all or nothing approach. It doesn't work. It's about proper application and done in a way that's sustainable and creates habits. But anyway, so moving on. We talked a little about stress. Now let's dive in about thyroid. Anton, my energy is just down. Like, I just feel chronically low all the time. Guys, chances are something's going on with your energy production and your metabolism, and thyroid is usually the first place to go. Here's the issue. Why do we need a test that I buy from, some website, or you, Anton, or whatever, instead of going to my doctor and testing thyroid? Well, my doctor tests my thyroid, one marker, TSH, total thyroid stimulating hormone, right? So just looking at total. Thyroid has about 6 markers that can be off. And that one can be normal, and I can still have thyroid problems with the other 5, but my doctor's not even checking that. So I'm going to get a thumbs up for my thyroid and be like, okay, Anton, you're good to go. So I'm not losing weight, and I'm trying to wrap my head around why that's happening, or my energy's low, I have low focus. And I'm doing everything I possibly can now, never coming back to investigate thyroid because my doctor said, Anton, your thyroid is okay. That's a problem, guys. Do not just trust what you hear there. Poor appetite. Appetite can be driven by either thyroid or stress. It's often those things that create that. It depends on what is kind of the symptom. But they're asking, what about poor appetite? This is a problem. Just know if you're not hungry throughout the day, that's an issue. Something's going on internally. Your body's just not firing all cylinders like it should, and it's either stress, your cortisol issue, or thyroid, but they're interconnected. When stress goes up, thyroid function goes down. They have an inverse relationship. So vice versa, when stress function goes down, thyroid function goes up. So if you have a thyroid problem, always address stress problem at the same time. Guess what else ties into it? Digestive health. Because if you're internally stressed because your digestion is always, pushing and working real hard and having issues, you could be mentally feeling normal, but your body's experiencing the same symptoms as work burnout. So really, all 3 have to be looked at. But stress and digestion is usually the first places I start to fix thyroid issues, unless you have like Hashimoto's. But even then, Hashimoto's is an autoimmune response. Where does autoimmunity stem from? Your gut. When your gut is not functioning, you have issues. I know this because I have psoriasis. I don't get medication for my psoriasis, guys. I have plaque psoriasis, but why does that happen? It has to do with stress. It has to do with my digestion and different things. So when I correct those things, my plaque psoriasis pretty much gets under control. I don't really have it. So if it starts to flare up, I know the root cause is happening. Yes, hyperthyroid is definitely going to cause that lack of appetite and different things like that, and just it's a problem. But hyperthyroidism is a problem too. Somebody's like, oh, I'm always thin, I can eat whatever I want. Yeah, you could have problems too. If your heart's, having heart palpitations, if you're just have anxiety and different things like that, that could be coming from hyperthyroidism. But nobody's connecting that. Now you're going on SSRIs and different medications to fix your anxiety or depression, but the reality came from something else. Address the root cause. All right, guys, so that's kind of thyroid. Just know, one thing I would just throw out there, different hormones pack body fat in different areas. That's why we all look different as human beings when we're overweight. Not everybody looks the same. Thyroid tends to pack it on and centralize body fat and really likes to put it in the hips and thighs. That's where thyroid likes to put it on. So if you're disproportionate, meaning that you carry body fat much higher in that area, you may want to look into thyroid. You may want to look at some symptoms first of what thyroid deficiency could look like, and then see if that's going on through some testing. Now, if your belly fat is bad, right? If you got a bunch of centralized belly fat and compared to everywhere else in your body, that's where you're storing it, chances are it's your stress response. So that could be going on. Love handles, back fat, insulin. So blood sugar's not being regulated properly could tie into stress as well. So just understand it. We carry fat differently in different bodies. Guys, if you got man boobs, I've struggled with that personally myself over the years. Estrogen, testosterone problems, right? So hormonal. Ladies, haya muscle, right? So I'm trying to shake it. There it is, haya muscle. A little bit of body fat in the back of your arm. That could be an estrogen imbalance. That's usually what likes to do that. So understand, there's usually symptoms, even without testing, that we can say, this is probably what's going on. Now let's pay attention and identify some better symptoms to really understand the next panel we got to do. But why are panels important? Because you don't mess with hormones without assessment. Everybody started taking, what's the one that I'm looking for? Why am I drawing a blank? DHEA. DHEA because women heard it's an anti-aging hormone, right? So now I'm just going to pop it like candy. Problem is, it is bad when it's too high. So unless you're testing and seeing where your DHEA level is, which stress response tests a lot of times do that through saliva, you shouldn't be taking it. But if you're deficient, of course. Same thing with testosterone and estrogens. You think you may have a testosterone deficiency. But what if your body's converting all the extra testosterone you put into your body into estrogen and creating a bigger problem? Testing is vital to good success and good journey. So that's kind of thyroid. The next thing is testosterone. Test is important because it's not just about a standalone figure. My doctor just ordered me a total testosterone, but what if I have a lot of sex hormone binding globulin? You don't have to know the thing, but just understand what it does is it attaches to a free hormone. That hormone is no longer acting like a free hormone. It's no longer available for me to use in ways that I can use a free hormone. But that's not being measured by my doctor right now. So all he's seeing, how much total testosterone did I have, whether it's bound up or it's free, is irrelevant to him. But that's important to my body, isn't it? It's important to my systems and my well-being. So that's why these tests are good for you. The other thing is sex drive. Guys, if you've got low sex drive, chances are testosterone. But then it's figuring out, is testosterone alone the problem, or is it stress that caused it, right? So you guys can see how complex it gets. And that's why you need experts to really figure this out. Because what we do is when we sit down with you, we think about deductive reasoning. We don't identify what it is. It's actually kind of working backwards. We exclude everything that it's not and clearly not, and we leave a few options that it is. And then we start to investigate each one of them to see which one fits your profile best and which one we need to start with in order to correct the rest of them. Because it's kind of important to figure out what came first, the chicken or the egg. That's the best way to do it if you can go all the way down to the bottom of the root cause. So test, understand that. Now, women, similar thing. I work with a lot of women, guys. I am a women-centered coach. I always have been. I'll tell you why. My dad passed away when I was 8, and I was raised by my grandma, my aunt, my sister, my mom. I connect with women better. And then since Oakley was born this year, my son, but my 2 daughters and my wife have been part of my life this whole time. So I'm surrounded by women. I've always coached women. I usually work with women from 35 to 55. That's my age. Why? Because of hormones, because of menopause, because of all these different things, that doing the stuff that you did in your early 20s is no longer working. And you're wrapping your head trying to do more of it, but it's just not working because your body's shifted. Your body's also different from a male body. There's certain things that you need to do differently. So I love working with women personally, and this is why this menopause test is one of the things that I do. It's testing and seeing where you're at with menopause, assessing your estrogens and things like that, and looking at ratios. The doctors often miss your good estrogens, your bad estrogens, and then you can take supplementation, natural supplements, to help your body naturally put your estrogen metabolism in the right pathway that metabolizes in the way that it should versus the way that your body's become now due to gut health and other things like that. So menopause test. And then the last one I want to talk about is heavy metal test. This is something that our body is not great at getting rid of heavy metals because we didn't really have that stuff early on in our lives. So we need to test and then use detoxes and chelators and stuff like that to get it out of our system. So many symptoms happen from from heavy metals, guys. Do your research on heavy metals, and you'll see things like autism tied into it. ADHD, this guy has it. If you see how I talk sometimes, ADHD full on. So just understand that you have to understand that it's not just about the symptom, it's really understanding the root cause. And heavy metals can open up your eyes to a lot of different things, and heavy metals cause a lot of other issues in the body. If you have a heavy metal toxicity issue, it's important you correct it. If you don't, you're just going to have down the road big problems. So that's kind of my focus today, guys. I wanted to chat to you about importance of assessing when starting a health transformation. Tomorrow, I'm going to dive into nutrition. I'll start to explain some high-level stuff, and we'll really talk about blood sugar stabilization. I'm not going to say, hey, eat this, don't eat this. That's not who I am, guys. Why? Because I've been doing this for so long. What works for you may not work for another person. It's about figuring out what is your current problem, what is your current need, what plan do we need to implement, and how in the world is that plan going to fit into your lifestyle versus being crammed into it. We build it around the lifestyle. Why? Because 10% Fitter method focuses on habitual change that becomes automatic and easy once you've gotten to that point. Because we're making small changes, we're able to create consistent changes. And I'll always remind you, when you change one thing about yourself, you have an 85% success rate. When you change two things at once, you go down all the way to 35. 3 or more, 10% or less. So simple, small changes done over time create habits that last for a life, and you stop yo-yoing. You really address these problems. So keep tuning in Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Mountain, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, and bring your questions, guys. I want to get to a point where this becomes more a question and answer. I'll take a few weeks, months, whatever, to introduce a lot of the concepts that I have already built in with my 10% Fitter method and my coaching systems, but I want you to bring specifics. I'd rather cover, just Q&A days. Maybe I'll make a Friday Q&A day, but just let me know how it can be of service for you, because knowledge is always free. Because the reality of the situation, you're not successful because you don't have enough knowledge. Internet's giving you everything you need. You don't know how to sift through it to be able to custom tailor the application to your individual lifestyle. That's what I do. That's why I'm not afraid to give it all out. Check out the webinar. If you guys haven't had me talk about this, there's a link in my comments. I'll do a webinar in September that will assess your symptom-based questions, and we'll be able to pinpoint what could be going on with you. It'll be about 50 to 100 questions. I haven't finalized it yet. But you'll understand what you have to make changes in to get better with your results, to make those results seem like they flow easier versus like you're grinding all the time to lose every pound. You're grinding every time to improve your sleep. You're grinding to improve your focus at work, wherever it may be. Now, if you're an organization, guys, I just want to leave this plug here. I really want to focus on working with organizations. I think that health has become a checkbox kind of thing for organizations. Wellness programs are just, being throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? I see people walking into the gym, swiping their cards, walking around and leaving because they have to have so many check-ins for their subsidized membership. But that's not wellness. That's not what the biggest issue with health is organizationally. So if your company's struggling with this, reach out. My book, Death by 1,000 Paper Cuts, has got amazing perks. It's only until August 31st. If you go to Publishizer and look up Death by 1,000 Paper Cuts, or look through a few other posts, I'll drop it in comments. You know what? I'll drop it in comments when I'm done with this live, and I'll give you guys a link to my book, because the perks are, perfect example, say you're struggling with stress. Buy 5 of my books, which is $100, and you get a free stress management course that's normally $497. Guys, the value is insane. Why am I doing this? I'm a new author. I know what I'm doing with health and fitness, but I've never written a book. So you're going to have to take a chance on me as a new author. So to give back, I'm giving massive value with the stuff that I know I'm a master of. So that's why you're going to see organizational perks. Say you have a team of 25 people. You buy them all a book, and it's a gift. So now you look like you made a deposit into your team. And you get a free workshop with me to go over all this stuff and teach you organizational health and make you be the champion of health for your team. Can you imagine what's going to do to your culture? What that's going to do to your retention? What's going to do to your employee happiness and productivity? Guys, there's nothing you can... I wrote this article for a business class the other day. I would argue there is nothing you can do more than focus on your health that gives you a better return on investment of your employees caring about your work focus outside of work. Nobody cares about your work when they leave work for the most part. But if that work is improved by improving your people's health, they keep putting in time into it after they left the office. That creates competitive advantage, guys. I've been a recovery manager for a long time. I know business, but now I use health to help business owners and organizations to thrive. So use these perks. There is a goal setting course. There is a kitchen rescue pack. Even if you just buy one book, I'm going to give you a kitchen rescue pack. It's a PDF. It's going to give you meals, how to prep meals, how to make shakes, how to do all this stuff for free, just for buying my book. And so, guys, go check it out. It's in Publishizer, but look, I'll drop a link in the comments here in a sec. And just from there, guys, that's really all I have for you. Tomorrow, tune in, same time, and we'll go from there. I really appreciate each one of you guys. I want you to know how happy it makes me to see, 30, 40, 50 people at once on a live. One day I had 80 people. Like, that's phenomenal. Because then I know my message is being heard. And I see that you guys are chiming in, listening, and the repeated people are coming back. Guys, I can't tell you how much that support means to me and just how much I value each and every single one of you guys. So have a great day, and I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye.